They say the hardest prison to escape is the one you don't realize you're building. For Maya Chen, a 34-year-old marketing consultant from Portland, Oregon, that prison had polished hardwood floors, large windows overlooking the city, and a rent she could barely afford. It looked like freedom. It felt like a tomb. And the silence? The silence knew things about her she'd spent a lifetime running from. This is her story. It was a Wednesday evening in March 2023 when Maya first realized something was terribly wrong. She'd just gotten home from work, kicked off her heels by the door, and stood in the entryway of her apartment for what felt like hours. The apartment was exactly as she'd left it that morning: clean, organized, lifeless. She couldn't remember the last time she'd spoken out loud at home, not to a friend, not to herself, not even to complain about the coffee maker that had broken 3 days earlier. She walked to the kitchen, poured herself a glass of water, and sat at the dining table she'd bought 6 months ago. The beautiful oak piece she'd found at an estate sale had been purchased with dreams of hosting dinner parties, laughing with friends over homemade pasta and cheap wine. She'd eaten at it exactly twice, both times alone, both times scrolling through her phone to fill the silence. That night, Maya cried. Not the pretty kind you see in movies, the ugly, choking kind that comes from somewhere deep and forgotten. And when she finally stopped, she asked herself a question that would change everything. How did I get here? To understand Maya's story, you have to go back 18 months to September 2021. Back then, Maya was living in a cramped two-bedroom apartment in Northeast Portland with her best friend since college, Rebecca. The place was chaos. Rebecca's art supplies everywhere, the kitchen sink perpetually full of dishes, music playing at all hours, friends dropping by unannounced. Maya complained about it constantly. She dreamed of her own space, a place where she could control the environment, where everything had its place. When a promotion came through at work with a substantial raise, Maya saw her chance. She found a one-bedroom apartment in the Pearl District, all exposed brick and industrial chic. The rent was steep, eating up nearly 40% of her new salary, but she convinced herself it was an investment in her well-being. Rebecca threw her a going-away party. Maya remembered standing in their cluttered living room, surrounded by people, feeling nothing but excitement for the clean slate waiting for her. She remembered thinking she was finally becoming the person she was supposed to be: independent, self-sufficient, in control. She had no idea she was walking into a trap of her own making. Before we dive deeper, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you. And if you're new here, click on the subscribe button so you never miss any of our upcoming videos. The first month was everything Maya had imagined. She arranged furniture with precision, hung artwork at exact intervals, organized her closet by color. She posted photos on social media that got dozens of likes. "Living my best life," she captioned them. But something strange started happening around week 6. The invitations she'd been extending to friends kept getting postponed, first by her. She'd tell Rebecca they should do brunch on Sunday, then cancel Saturday night because she was tired. Eventually, she stopped extending invitations altogether. She told herself people were busy. The promotion had come with increased responsibilities: late nights at the office, weekend emails. There'd be time for socializing later. By month 4, her routine had become mechanical. Wake up, check phone, shower, commute in silence, work through lunch in silence, commute home in silence, heat up dinner, watch Netflix until her eyes hurt, then scroll through social media in bed until she fell asleep. The only conversations she had were work-related, efficient, professional, empty. Rebecca texted constantly at first. "Haven't seen you in forever. Coffee this week?" Maya would respond with vague promises that never materialized. Eventually, Rebecca's texts became less frequent, then occasional, then rare. The apartment that was supposed to be her sanctuary had become a cage. By December 2022, 15 months after moving in, Maya had developed a strange relationship with silence. It wasn't peaceful, it was aggressive. The apartment seemed to absorb sound. Everything was muted, as if the walls were padded with something invisible. She started leaving the TV on constantly. Background noise became a necessity. But the silence wasn't empty. It was full of thoughts she'd been avoiding, full of questions she didn't want to answer. Why had she really left Rebecca's apartment? Was it about space and peace, or was it about control? The promotion she'd been so proud of had turned her job into her entire identity. But who was she when she closed her laptop? She didn't know. One night in January 2023, 2 months before her breakdown, Maya experienced something that should have been a warning. She came home from work, and when she walked into the living room, she had the distinct, overwhelming sensation that someone was there. Not a burglar, not a ghost, just presence. She stood frozen in the doorway, her heart hammering. Then she laughed at herself. Stress, long hours. But the feeling didn't go away. It persisted night after night, this sense that the apartment knew something about her she didn't know about herself. After her breakdown that Wednesday in March, Maya did something unusual. She called in sick to work the next day. She never called in sick, but that Thursday, she turned off her phone and sat with the silence. Really sat with it. No TV, no music, no distractions. For the first time in months, she let herself feel everything she'd been running from. The grief of friendships she'd let decay. The shame of becoming someone she didn't recognize. She thought about her mother, who'd passed away 5 years ago. Her mom had been the opposite of Maya, loud, messy. Their small house in Sacramento had always been full of people, of noise, of life. Maya had found it overwhelming. She'd craved order, quiet, control. Then her mother got sick, stage 4 pancreatic cancer. 6 months from diagnosis to death. Maya had taken time off work, moved back temporarily to help with care. Those 6 months were chaos. Medical appointments, family members coming and going. But there was something else there too. Love. Messy, complicated, imperfect love. People showing up with casseroles. Old friends telling stories. Laughter mixed with tears. Even in dying, her mother's life was full of connection. After the funeral, Maya had returned to Portland and thrown herself into work. She'd achieved everything she thought she wanted, but she'd also slowly cut herself off from everything her mother's life had represented. Over the next 2 weeks, Maya became a detective of her own life. She opened her call log. The most recent incoming call that wasn't work-related was from Rebecca, 6 months ago. She'd let it go to voicemail. She opened her text messages. The conversations were overwhelmingly one-sided. Friends reaching out, Maya responding with vague, non-committal replies. The pattern was clear. She'd been the one pulling away. People hadn't abandoned her. She'd made herself unreachable. That weekend, Maya forced herself to do something terrifying. She texted Rebecca and asked if they could talk. Rebecca called within 10 minutes. They talked for 2 hours. Maya cried. She apologized for disappearing. Rebecca said something that cracked Maya open. "I've been worried about you for a year. I thought maybe I'd done something wrong." The idea that her isolation had hurt someone else was unbearable and necessary to hear. Maya's transformation didn't happen overnight. It was a series of small, uncomfortable choices. She started saying yes to invitations. She invited Rebecca over for dinner and didn't panic when her friends showed up early and saw the dishes in the sink. She joined a book club. She started calling her dad more regularly. At work, she set boundaries. She stopped checking email after 7 p.m. The apartment began to change. Maya bought a secondhand couch, comfortable instead of stylish. She hung photos, her mother, Rebecca, a trip to the coast. She got plants. She started cooking again. She invited her book club over in August 2023, 6 months after her breakdown. 8 women crammed into her apartment. They drank wine. Someone spilled red wine on her rug. Maya laughed. For the first time, it felt like home. One evening in late October 2023, 8 months after her reckoning, Maya came home from work. And when she walked into the living room, something was different. The presence she'd felt before was gone. The silence was just silence.